This is the Dick and Conversation podcast. I'm Elissa. And if this is your first time visiting, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you've been watching me for a while, welcome back. I know. Welcome back because I've been gone for a while. I have. I've been working on a project, and then, in all honesty, I've been a little bit lazy. So, welcome back. And if this is your first time, welcome. I'm Elissa. I am the host. And you are probably hearing me on Amazon, iHeart, Pandora, Spotify, or watching me on the tube of you. I am also socially, you can find me on the Dick and Conversation YouTube channel. Share, like, subscribe. I always forget to do that. My Instagram is Dick and Conversation _podcast. My Facebook page is Dick and Conversation Facebook page. And my email is dickandconvo@gmail.com. And I'm also on Blue Sky. You can find me on Blue Sky at dickandconvo.bsky.social. So I've been gone. My intent was to start back doing this every week. When I first started, I had so much passion and I was doing it every week, but I haven't been able to do it. I've been working on a project for work for about, I don't know how many months, and I've almost finished. So after this week coming up, I will probably go back to doing this regularly and weekly, but I wanted to make sure I got this in. I got a message from an old friend of mine. Hey, Dorothy. And she asked me, she said, "Hey, Alyssa, can you please talk about this on your podcast?" It was a video clip of a woman describing the pause. For those of you who are wondering what the hell I'm talking about, it is menopause or perimenopause. Now, here's the thing. I'm 51. I'll be 52 in probably about 6 weeks, maybe about 6 weeks or so. Yeah, 6 weeks. And I'll be 52. Now, the majority of us who are at this age in our 40s, even some of my best friends are in their 30s and they're starting to experience the perimenopausal things, the perimenopausal, like not just the missed periods or the irregular periods, but some of those wacky symptoms that people don't tell you about. And we as Gen Xers and some of us older millennials are beginning to discover like there's more to this whole menopause thing than what we were told. Growing up, my mom, all they talked about was the change. Oh, she's going through the change. Or when my mom went through the change. And I was like, okay, the change. I knew what to expect somewhat. I heard about, night sweats and hot flashes. And that's all I knew. That's all they talked about. And I remember going to get my hair done probably in my 20s, 30s. And I had a hairdresser that I had worked with for years. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Cheryl. And she would sometimes have older clients in her clientele, and they would come and they were older ladies. They were her going through the change. And sometimes it would get hot. And she's pressing their hair, curling their hair, or doing their sew in. And they'll say, "Hey, I have to stop." And they're sweating. And God bless this hairdresser. Hey, Cheryl. God bless her heart. She knew exactly what was going on. She would go get them some ice water, or she would go get them a fan. Sometimes she would lay a blanket out on the floor so these ladies could lay down. And I was thinking, like, what's going on with her? Is it that serious? But I didn't realize it was that serious. And they was break out sweating and dripping, and they're getting their hair done. So, they're dripping, sweating, hot, and fanning, and oh, man, I got to stop. And she would take care of them. She understood what they were going through. She also did hair with her mom. Her mom, they were just like pros. It was almost choreographed where they would help their clientele just relax. And they give these women this time to go through whatever they were going through. And when they finished, when the hot flash had passed, they would say, "Oh, okay, I'm so sorry. I'll get back on it." And she said, "That's okay." And her mom would be like, "That's okay." And they would redo the hair, fix it up, and start from where they had to stop and continue on. And I just thought, like, that's all there was to menopause. I thought you get a hot flash, you get maybe a nice sweat, and you need some water, need a fan, and that's it. I'm thinking of, oh, you don't get any more cycles. Whoop, whoop. No more cycles, no more need for my doll. Well, baby, I'm here to tell you the pause is much, much more than that. For many, many years, And when I say many, I mean all the way up until this year. No, last year. Last year. I haven't gone this year. This year, when I would go for my annual exam, I'm a late bloomer, so to speak. I'm a late one entering into that cycle of life. I just kind of started perimenopausal, but most people have been going through it in their 40s, and I'm 51, 52, going on 52, and I still haven't quite got all the way in there. Not quite. I go to my annual my annual exam, and the my gynecologist, yeah, he died, and my gynecologist would say, "So, are you still having regular cycles?" I'm like, yeah, yeah, pretty much. And I say, I'm not in menopause yet. And so she would get the exam, get the paperwork back, or get my test results, and she go, "No, not yet, Alyssa. You're probably going to get to perimenopausal pretty soon." And she said, "Well, what kind of birth control are you using?" And I said, "Wing and a prayer." But I'm too old for the pill, and I didn't want anything else. I was like, "Wing and a prayer." And she would laugh. And so she was like, "Well, what kind of prenatal care would you like to have?" And she thought it was funny. And I'm laughing now because it's funny. Like, you got to be out your damn mind. So she would ask me, like, what kind of prenatal care I would want. Because she says, "Alyssa, you still can very much become pregnant." I was like, in my 50s, I haven't started yet. And I get that I haven't jumped all the way in there. But I thought like my engine would be turning over, getting that little, starting up. And she was like, "Not yet." Well, baby, let me tell you, after that annual, it's not that I recognized that that was the perimenopausal symptoms. I thought I was going crazy. And it was subtle things. Okay, yeah, my cycle started slowing down. It might come, may not. couple months last summer, it just was like, okay, yeah, we go, we go, we go, we out. Like SpongeBob, I'm gonna head out. And I was like, oh, I'm easing into perimenopause. Yes. So I'm thinking like that's it. Cause all I knew was hot flashes, night sweats, maybe a little balding at the top of the head. Okay, your body chemistry change, your crown thins out a little bit. I'm like, okay, well I wear, crochets mostly anyway, and as long as I take my hair, skin, and nail vitamins, nature made gummies, baby, them to live and die by. I had a nurse who told me years ago, she was a British nurse, I think her name was Paula, and she was like, "Oh dear, you have to take nature made. Take nature made everything, gummies, vitamins, you love them, dear." And I've been taking nature made, multivitamin, everything. So hair, skin, and nails, I'm like, okay, let me do that. And I started doing it anyway after my bariatric surgery because I didn't want to go bald. Because my hair did start thinning a little. I was like, I'm getting a little bald spot. Well, I was taking those and the hair came back. Like, okay, all right, we cooking here. As my daughter say, I'm cooking here. And so the hair came back and I was like, okay, well, I wear, fake hair for a particular style like right now. So I'm okay with it. Well, those aren't the symptoms that I was having. I didn't have, I had a little bit of a hot flash only, and it was triggered by coffee. So when I go to the office and, God bless my office, we got all the creamers, all the coffees, all the tea, which one. And so I would drink a coffee, just kind of like perk me up a little bit. And I would get a little hot flash. Nothing where I'm sweating, nothing where it's profuse water dripping, but I would feel warm on the inside. And I was thinking like, okay, well, maybe that's the coffee. Drinking coffee. Of course you're going to warm up. Well, not always when I'm drinking coffee. Would I get these little, I get these little warmers, not always when I'm drinking coffee. So I'm like, okay, feel a little warm. All right, got a little fan. Give me a little fan sitting on my desk at work. A little Beyonce fan, keep it going. Like, okay, a little hair, move this around, a little hair. Okay. But I'm thinking like, okay, I'm feeling a little warm. Nothing major, no major big hot flashes. But those weren't the symptoms that I was having that people those are things people told us about. Those aren't the symptoms I was looking for. The symptoms I started having are the ones I had never heard of. No one ever told me about them. I never heard of them. I didn't know if other people were experiencing them. And I didn't even equate it to being perimenopausal. I equated it to be, listen, you losing your damn mind. It started off with the itching. So If you've had this or you're having this, you are not going crazy. You're not allergic to the laundry detergent or the fabric softener you've been using for decades. No, that could be perimenopause, and it's like a itching. Oh my God, it's on my back, it's on my arm, and I would feel like something crawling on me, and I look at my arm like, okay, is there something on my arm? And I don't see anything. And it's smack dab in the middle of my back. And it was even worse at night. I could have sworn that one of the kids had put salt in my bed. They pulled them covers back and was like, we go fix her because she didn't get us the new iPhone, and sprinkle salt in my bed. And I'm laying in it like, what is going on? I'm itching. I felt like I'm laying on salt or sand or something that's making me itch. But nope. Came to find out it was perimenopausal. I'm like, I'll be damn. And then it would be the worst thing was this driver's anxiety. Now, I thought like, oh my God, this is where I really thought I was going crazy. A few years ago, I had an episode where I was driving and I had to pull over on the side of the road because I was confused and I didn't know where I was, but I did know where I was. I couldn't formulate sentences, and I'm driving. I'm doing 80, trying to get to work down in Detroit. And this is what's happening. And I'm going like, oh my God, what has happened? What has happened? I don't know what's going on. And I had to pull off on the side of the road, and I was just kind of feeling like I'm about to pass out. Well, that was the result of dehydration, as I found out later on. So drink water now. Plenty of it all day, every day. But the driver's anxiety was just, I found out, is part of being perimenopausal. That's where I really felt like I was going crazy because sometimes I have to commute to work and I'm driving and I feel like I'm going to die. Behind the wheel, I feel like I'm going to die. I feel like I'm about to drive my truck under a semi. I feel like I'm going to pass out while I'm driving. I just like feeling lightheaded and dizzy. And I would have to pull off on the side of the road and just kind of pump myself up like, listen, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Are you having a heart attack? Are you having okay? And I'm talking to myself like, breathe deeply. In your nose, out your mouth. In your nose, out your mouth. And I'm breathing deeply like, okay, you can make it. You can make it. Just go to the next few miles. Okay, let's do 5 miles. Let's go 5 more miles. And then you can pull off again. And then you go. And you're like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I want to die. I'm going to black out behind the wheel. I'm going to crash into another car. I'm going to hit the shoulder of the road and go over into a ditch. I'm going to go up under this car. And you're having all of these thoughts while you listen to the Breakfast Club. With Charlamagne, DJ Envy, and just hilarious on the way to work. But you're still having these thoughts of, I'm going to die while I'm driving to work. And I can't, this hair, because this is driving me crazy. I can't get this under control. Like, what is going on? I don't know what is going on with me. I have a little edge distracted. And I don't know what's going on. I need to do something because I'm going to eventually crash this truck and die. And I did not know that was part of perimenopausal. So I'm sitting next to my coworker and I tell her of how I have this thing about driving now and I feel like I'm going to die. She says, oh, listen, I have that too. It's like, you do? She said, yeah. It started when I started menopause. I was like, what? She said, oh yeah, that's one of the symptoms of menopause. Where you have this driver's anxiety and you fear that you're going to crash. Why nobody told me this part? Because I did not know that. And I'm so glad she told me that because I was thinking like, oh my God, well, I'm not crazy. That's part of menopause. And I get it. Our generation ahead of us that just knew about the change in the night sweats and things like that. That's all they could tell. They didn't tell us about driving because hell, some of them didn't even drive. This hair is driving me crazy, as you all see. I keep messing with it. I'm trying to get it perfectly right, but what's perfection? As my boss said, we don't strive for perfection. So I did not realize that too is a symptom of the pause. And then I started wondering, like, okay, why my food doesn't taste the same? I have a craving, or it's something I want to make for dinner, and I've been cooking for decades. Same recipe, same everything, same measurements, same products by the same companies. But when I cook, it just does not taste the same. And I started thinking something's wrong with the food. And I started talking to the ladies at work because I work with a bunch of ladies like, you guys notice something different with the food? And they were like, different how? Like, does it taste the same? Because at first I thought something wrong with McDonald's. What are they cooking this meat with? What's the burgers now? Because it don't taste like the burgers I grew up with. Then I'm wondering, this hair is driving me crazy. Here we go. Okay, and I'm like, this, it just doesn't taste the same. Like, what has happened to food? And I was like, I need to just stop eating out. No fast food. Let me cook my own food. And even that was starting to taste strange. Like, what is going on with the food? Stuff doesn't taste well, doesn't taste good. You know what it's supposed to taste like. You cook it the exact same. But nope, it does not taste the same. Did not realize that's a menopausal symptom. I'm like, oh my God, I've discovered that's part of being perimenopausal. Nobody didn't know this. So I'm saying this to women so that you guys realize you're not going crazy. You're not. You aren't. You become clumsy. I bump into things. I was dropping things and I kept saying, oh my God, I'm so clumsy. I hate being clumsy. I hate being clumsy. I would knock over pots and bump into walls and I started finding bruises. Like, what am I bumping into stuff? Have I gotten clumsy since I got older and I'm just walking and all of a sudden just bump into a wall, lose balance? Like, oh my God, is there something wrong with me? And I would just say, I hate being clumsy. And my kids finally started saying, Mom, stop saying that. Quit saying it. And my son, God bless his heart, was like, Mom, you're making yourself that way because you keep saying it. Like you're speaking it into being, and then that's what's happening. You're making yourself clumsy. And I'm like, I ain't making myself clumsy. Hell, I'm clumsy. I'm running into stuff. And, I'm like, what in the world? And the strapping young lad that I was seeing at the time was saying, why you can't even walk straight? Like, what are you bumping into walls for? Like, I don't know. I guess I'm clumsy. Then I'm thinking I'm clumsy. But that was a perimenopausal symptom. Then the dizzy spells that no one told me about, the lightheadedness. And I'm not talking about the driver's anxiety, like lightheadedness. I'm talking about you're sitting and you're watching TV. It's like, whoo, a dizzy spell. Or you stand up like, whoo. Because the first time it happened, I thought, well, I stood up too soon, too quick, too fast, just stood up too quickly. And the blood is rushing. Like, oh my God, I got to start getting up a little slower, a little older. So I got to make this a whole process. Shift your body, feet down, rest, stand slowly. That get rid of the dizzy spells. That will stop it. But it didn't. So I was still having these dizzy spells. And what was even worse was last August. Yeah, last August. I was up and I was texting. I was wide awake and texting, dropping young lad. And I specifically remember texting him, I'm going to go turn the air on because it's hot. And that's the last text I sent. And I woke up on my kitchen floor. My God, because it felt as if I had just nodded off. That's what I thought. I'm still in the bed and I nodded off. And I'm thinking like, oh, nodded off and laid in the bed. But when I open my eyes, I'm in my kitchen and I'm on the floor. And I sit up and one of the chairs that goes with my dinette set is on the floor and it's flipped over. And the seat has been broken off of the seat. I was like so confused. And I look and sit up. My daughter comes downstairs and she says, Mom, what are you doing? I said, I don't know. She said, why are you on the floor? I said, I don't know. She said, how did you get there? I said, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I told her I was in the bed and I was texting and I woke up on the floor. And I don't know why I'm here and on this floor like this. It just doesn't make sense. And I'm having these, I'm like, oh my God, okay, something has to be wrong. And the next day I was supposed to go and do some things for a political event. And I was like, okay, I'm gung ho, I'm doing it, I'm fine. Everything's great. I go back, but I still have these dizzy spells. And I'm like, okay, I don't think that I'm good. So let me go to the hospital because, falling, that could have been something very, very serious, losing consciousness. And I go and They run tests on my heart and my head and my chest and my blood and every test that you can run. And they send me a bill. And then they come back and they said what I was praying to God that they did not say. And it was, Alyssa, we can't find anything wrong. That is just the absolute worst. When you know something's wrong, but they can't find anything wrong. So they said, well, just follow up with your PCP, primary care physician. I was like, okay, absolutely. And I have an amazing primary care physician. She's a woman, but she's in another city, so I don't mind the drive. She's worth the ride. She really is. So I have to go back sometimes to my hometown every now and again and go see my PCP, who's freaking phenomenal. And I tell her all what happened, and she reads about what happened in my chart. And so she says, well, Alyssa, are your periods regular? I said they had been. They stopped for a little while, and I got the little belly pudge. No, that perimenopausal belly that nobody told me about, where it comes and just sit like Santa Claus, like he comes up top. It's the top part of the belly, the upper fupa, the fupa oopa. And nobody told me about that. So I was like, yeah. And so she says, oh, those are all menopause symptoms. I said, what? She said, yeah, they're menopause symptoms. And I said, really? Perimenopausal? I was like, well, I missed, a couple of periods, cycles here. She was like, no, it's perimenopausal. I went, really? She said, yeah, that's it. Because I kept having, like I said, all these symptoms, they all of a sudden started. And they're all like running congruently at the same time. And even the smells, like I started thinking like, what, smelling myself, like, do I stink? I get out the shower and I still smell. Like, what is this smell? Like, I got to throw away all my Bath and Body Works. I got to get all new Bath and Body Works. Like, what is smelling? It's deodorant. You get out the shower, put on deodorant, and I'm still like, I smell. But it's not. That's just my nose tricking me. I smell fine. Because I would have people smell like, do I smell funny? Like, smell funny like how? I don't know. Funny. Not ha funny, but funny like, oh my God. You're like, no, smell great. I don't know. So, I'm still wearing my perfume. But in my mind, I'm going like, oh, what does that smell? I'm just walking around like, what does that smell? Even in my house, I'm like, what does that smell? But it's not really a smell. It's part of perimenopausal. So, kudos to my doctor. Here's what my doctor told me. Now, here's my disclaimer. This is what worked for me. I am not medically trained in any way. This is just what worked for me, recommended by my primary care physician. She asked me, was I also having insomnia? I told her, absolutely. And I know I'm not the only one, because when I look on Facebook at 2 a.m, I see some of y'all out there with them lights on too. Them green lights, they snitch on you. You want them green lights snitch on you? Those green lights, and I see a lot of people are up and commenting. And I've seen a lot of you all comment that you have these perimenopausal symptoms and we don't know what to do. So here's what my doctor told me. 1, stay hydrated. Hydration is very important. She told me, well, I want you to look at taking ashwagandha. Now, I've seen ashwagandha in the vitamins and supplements area for forever. I barely knew how to pronounce it. I just knew it was that long A word you see on the bottle. I didn't know what it was for, but I had never heard of it, so I'm not taking it. It's like some of the other stuff you see, like, what the heck is that? I don't know. Nobody told me what it was. Nobody told me what it's for. So I didn't take it. But when she said it, I went like, really? She's like, honestly, I don't know why it's not prescribed to more people. She's from Canada. So she said, we use it all the time. I was like, really? She said, yeah. She said, let's try it out. She said, just try it. If it doesn't work, we'll see where we need to go from there. At least hopefully we can kind of come up with something, to curtail the symptoms. And I'm like, okay. And so she said, and as far as, the weight gain in the little mid area and the insomnia, have you taken magnesium? Well, no. I remember when my son was having complex migraines and the neurologist told him to take magnesium and to help him sleep. And I was like, really? So she says, well, you can take magnesium citrate. Magnesium citrate. And I'm like, that's the stuff in the bottle that you take that and it's going to clean your conscience. You will start confessing. You may lose consciousness while you're on the toilet. Like, I don't know. She was like, no, you can take it as a gummy form and just, take one a day or take it at night when you're getting ready to go to bed. And then it'll probably help you sleep a little better. She said, and then, kind of keep the digestive system healthy and flowing. And, it will help relieve a little belly fat. You talk about getting rid of belly fat, baby. I'm there. What? Get rid of belly fat? I got to. Come on. So, as always, Nature Made, baby. I'm getting my Nature Made vitamins. I got my ashwagandha. I got my magnesium citrate. I'm taking my B12, my D3, my multivitamin, my hair, skin, and nails. I'm vitamin down. All Nature Made. And I was like, okay, let me take this and try this out. Well, I'm here to tell you, baby, that stuff worked. It took away the little itchies and the smell and the lighthead and the dizzy spells. And I was like, oh my God. But here's my warning with ashwagandha. For me, I'm not a doctor, medically trained whatsoever. I used to be a pre-med major, but I didn't finish. So for me, it lowers my blood pressure significantly, and I'm already on blood pressure medication. So I had to be very careful because then I started feeling a little awkward again. Like, what's going on? It wasn't the high blood pressure. It wasn't that feeling because I know when my blood pressure is up and it's high, I'll start to blink. I always say I blink like Mary J. Blige because Mary blink a little more than everybody else. I noticed that over the years. So when my blood pressure is high, I feel like Mary J. Blige and I'm blinking a lot. But no, I just felt a little off. Like, okay, let me check my blood pressure because maybe it is high and this is something new. Well, no, baby, it says 77 over 56. And I was like, oh, Lord, I'm on my way to the grave. That's low. And I was like, maybe that's not right. Maybe the battery's low. There's an error in my cuff. Let me try this again. Well, no, it was low. And I learned to not take that too much because it will prescribe to take 2 gummies, ashwagandha gummies, a day, every day. Well, not if you have blood pressure issues. So don't do that, trying to get rid of them symptoms, and you get up out of here and go home to glory. I'm saying what worked for me. You may want to give it a try. I don't know. Check with your PCP. But it did work. The itchiness went away. The crazy lightheadedness went away. The smell, the driver's anxiety, and all the other symptoms that I had. That was one of those weird symptoms where you always feel like you see something out the corner of your eye and you turn like thought somebody was there or something was there or a lamp was there or you start seeing stuff out of in your peripheral vision like, what is that? But there's nothing there. I also had that. So if all of a sudden you're having those symptoms, you're not crazy. You're not crazy. You're just menopausal. Perimenopausal. So after that worked out. Like, oh, okay, that worked out well. The symptoms went away. They subsided. I feel normal again. Things are balanced. And my periods came back regularly. Like I'm 15 years old. Like I look at the app on my watch. If it says you have 3 days until cycle, 3 days. So when I go back to my doctor next month, when she says, Alyssa, what kind of birth control are you using? Still winging a prayer? What? Still winging a prayer. And are you still having? Yes, regularly. I'm back regularly. So I just had to talk on this because I see a lot of us are going through it. And I know Oprah did a whole special on it. I still haven't seen it. I need to watch it. But when Dorothy said, listen, can you please talk about this on your podcast? I was like, absolutely no problem. But I know, like I said, we as Gen Xers, We're the first generation that is going through menopause, perimenopausal, where communication is so open. We have podcasts and social media, and we have all of these networks, and we have blogs and vlogs and television specials and documentaries and resources on the internet where we can talk about the symptoms. We can talk about what helps because our mothers didn't have that. They had the change and change the sheets and get you some water and fan and turn the heat on, put more clothes on and get under the cover. That's what they had because nobody talked about it. It's like, oh, she's going through a change. Miss Mary going through a change. And it wasn't really discussed. It was just like, oh, she's going through change. And it was like, hush, hush. Don't talk about it. You can see it, but don't mention it. Well, we don't have to do that. We don't have to go through this alone. We can talk and say, this is what I'm experiencing. You're not crazy if you're having this experience because I am too. And this is probably what it is. And this is what worked for me. Or this is what I drank to relieve the symptoms. Or as I do right now, I have a fan on my desk and a space heater at my feet because I don't know if I'm about to get a Arctic blast or I'm about to get a heat wave. Not exactly sure. But I wanted to touch on this and just give my experience to it. I'll probably see if I can put some resources at the end of this, just so anyone that wants to look it up have some information about it. Because we shouldn't have to go through this alone. You shouldn't have to go through thinking that you stink, you crazy, you dizzy, you're gonna crash, you're seeing something out of the corner of your eye, and your kids put salt in your bed. That's not a way to go through life. We can go through and just, still enjoy it. Enjoy being a seasoned woman, an elder of society, and still be beautiful and feel like I'm okay. Yeah, my fupa got a oopa. I got an upper oopa. Got a little belly at the top. Got a little waist when I'm tired. But I discovered men don't care. They don't care about that oopa fupa. Not at all. Baby, they don't care about your extra belly, your little weight. They don't. So, but we do. And it makes you uncomfortable as a woman. Like, oh my God, I didn't have this weight. Or I didn't look like this at 18. Or I didn't look like this last year. Like, I didn't have this last year. And it's okay because that's just your body changing. Thank you for watching or listening to the Dick and Conversation podcast. I appreciate you listening to me on Amazon, iHeart, Pandora, Spotify, or watching me on the tube of you. You can always reach out to me in my socials, Dick and Conversation _ podcast on Instagram, Dick and Convo at gmail.com. Excuse me. Woo. My YouTube page is my YouTube channel is Dick and Conversation Podcast. Like, share, subscribe. And my Facebook page is Dick and Conversation Podcast page. And my Blue Sky, because I have to look up here. My Blue Sky is Dick and Convo Sky .social. You're not crazy. You're just perimenopausal. Thank you for watching. I'm Alyssa.